Hey guys, Edge-dono here, and today I'm bringing you the topic I promised on Friday. Was Friday when I did that video? I think it was Saturday actually. And this topic is improving at fighting games, or as some people say, how to get good. Now, I kind of touched on my opinion of the term get good, which honestly, I don't necessarily hate it when someone says, oh, I'm gonna have to get good at this game. Or like any way around that. That's fine. But when you go up to someone, hey, do you have any tips for this fight? And they're just like, yeah, get good. That's rude. That shouldn't even if you're gonna respond that way, don't even say something. Now, when it comes to gaming and all that, certain games are more difficult than others. That's a thing. Look at Cuphead, Dark Souls, which is more difficult than most other games. Games are just by nature, some are easy, some are difficult. Now, I don't think I really need to touch on a lot of this. I want to quickly get into this segment. So, I think there's, say, 3 things on getting good at a game. The first thing is really, I can't just generalize each subject into one specific thing. I think there's 3 broad things. I think the attitude that you approach it with, your preferences, and I would say the third one would be, because how do I word it? That's a very good question. I might have to make a 3-part video series. I can't even think about what the third one is. Yeah, I think I would have had it already in my mind and I dropped it because I was like, that word's not good enough. Commitment. There we go. Commitment fills in really nice. So, attitude, preferences, commitment. Maybe I can get all this done in less than 15 minutes. Maybe I might need to make a part 2. So, I'm going to start with attitude. A difficult game is going to beat you down. A fighting game is difficult. This is recording in 30 frames per second. I'll have to fix that. Recording videos is difficult too, guys, apparently. So let's not get off topic too much. So about how I said games will beat you down. Fighting games are going to be difficult. You're going to find people who are better than you and they'll slug you down over and over again. Well, you got to be patient about that. Yeah, Dark Souls, I'm going to run at something, I'm going to die. I'm going to run at it differently, it's still going to kill me. I'm going to take my time, see why it's killing me. Okay, if I do this, it does this, that's why I die, I need to pay more attention. It's a simple theory in figuring out, it's an act of repetition and pattern recognition of recognizing patterns and repeating certain actions to see if the same thing happens. Which when people are like, don't repeat the same thing, obviously it's not going to work. Sometimes you want to see if the same reaction happens. You have to have patience to do all this. If you have no patience, you cannot achieve success in that. In a fighting game, arguably the same thing is. You need patience. Now, I'm not saying play defensively and let your opponent do something. No. But if you do a jump in and they anti-air you, you can safely assume every, if not most, jump-ins are going to get anti-aired. So you need to start focusing on a different way to get in. Stuff like that. You need to be able to take the risk of, will this work on him? Oh no, he stops it. In Dark Souls, Cuphead, any game that has remote challenge, that's always the same thing. I can't beat it this way. but does he always respond this way? Can I do something else? Once you figure all that out, you can open it up the enemy, or the other player, which I'll just refer with enemy term. So yeah, you need patience in order to see things, test things out, and everything. When I play a fighting game, I sit in the lab for, I don't know, like 2 hours before I go online. I want to say lab, I mean training mode. And I'm just experimenting with stuff like, okay, I can do this combo to a standing enemy. What if they're crouching? What if the enemy has a smaller hitbox? What if, or hurt box in a fighting game mentality words. What matters? What can happen? And I'll even experiment with, what if the opponent is doing this tactic and I hit them with this? What happens? Does it create a counter hit? Does it do a air knockback that I can combo off of, or can I not? Multiple different things. You have to have patience to test everything out. And you're not going to be able to test every situation, but you can test a lot of them, and you should. Now, from this, I'm going to move on to the second one. It's preference. Let me go grab something real quick. Okay. Sorry about that. I had to grab one of the things. Now, by preference, how do you like to play? Do you like having music blaring? Do you like the game audio? Do you like things like that really matter when it comes to preference, but that's not just it. What do you prefer to play on? For instance, I play fighting games. I play a lot of different fighting games. Most fighting games, Street Fighter, Guilty Gear, Blaze Blue, Under Night In-Birth, like those games, I'm going to be using this. You'll hear people call this an arcade stick or a fight stick. It's really just reminiscent of arcade controllers. So it gives you a lot of, not that you can see. Let's see if I can... Yeah. So you can see, I have a lot of customization for one. Fighting games normally lets you really edit your layout. So Street Fighter, light punch, medium punch, heavy punch, light kick, medium kick, heavy kick. This can be, I can just make it whatever I want. Sometimes you got things you got to put all three. I could just have that for that. Normally I choose to just input all buttons on my own. I don't like shortcuts on my fight stick. This got a gate switch. It gives me a lot of freedom with movement and stuff. Because in a fighting game, you got the 8 directions you can move in. Like up, down, left, right, up, forward, up, back, down, forward. And I can easily hit that without messing up. I prefer these for those types of games. Now, I didn't mention a specific company on fighting games because they don't optimize their games for stick, and even despite being so used to this, I won't play it on a stick. And the reason why I'm touching topics like this is very specific. I probably should angle my camera up before I did that. Anyways. Let's go back down a bit. There we go. So, NRS games, NetherRealm Studios, Mortal Kombat, Injustice, that's their 2 series that are famous right now. I'll actually use my pad. Now, people will call this a controller. Yeah, it is a controller, but so is a mouse and keyboard. Anything that you can use to control a game is a controller. Man, I'm just having so many issues with my camera. Specifically, the type of controller these are pads. Yeah, there we go. Got them both on screen now. These are pads. On NRS games, I like using just my normal PlayStation pad. I don't have a specialized pad for fighting games. I don't really want to invest in one. But fight sticks are very unoptimized for NRS games. Well, really, they just optimize the games for pads. It's just so easy to use these. I prefer to use these. That being said, do I prefer analog stick or D-pad? All time, when I was playing on fighting games, I never used the analog stick. It always got in my way because I am mainly a Sony player. And this just bugs me. Now, I used to play on the Xbox 360. That's why I got my my Switch Pro controller here. Because it mimics the 360 layout more. Really, the 360. I don't know which one mimics which. But like, it's got the same layout. Now, I dislike the D-pad though. Because just like the 360 and I think the Xbox One, it's a connected pad. You see how it's connected to each other. The PlayStation doesn't have that, and that's why I really like the PlayStation one. They're all separate of each other. This one isn't, so when I press one button, the other buttons go down. Some people might like that, some people won't. I hated that fact. Now, I do like how this is out of the way. I can't accidentally hit the analog stick. So that's really good. I actually like that part about it. Now, I don't like for normal gameplay, I don't like having the sticks in different locations. That really messes me up. For them to be, equal with each other, like in the PlayStation controller. Now, I've detailed those types of pads, and I mentioned specifically there are pads made for fighting games. I do have one, but not for my PlayStation. This is a fight pad for the Nintendo Switch. No, drawing the blanks here. No analog sticks. Now, there's many different fight pads. You can go to GameStop and look up the GameStop website, Amazon, Newegg. Just Google fighting game fight pad in your specific game you're looking for. This one is very unique to me because it's got multiple, 4 buttons down here. These two here are shoulder buttons. I think they're the bumpers, or are they the triggers? I'm not sure. I don't know what ZL and ZR are actually on the Switch. Okay, they're the triggers. So those are the triggers as far as the normal controller goes. These are the bumpers. These are the only things you really need in Pokken as far as actual gameplay goes for the shoulder. So you only need the bumpers. Because ZR does the same thing that R does. ZL does the same thing that L does. Start and select the D-pad. Once again, connected. I still don't like that. D-pad, it's connected. Still don't like it, but in Pokken, it doesn't matter as much. In fact, I can do this and get the same achievement as that. So I do prefer that. You can't really see what I'm doing, but I can hold down, but just really put pressure to the left, and it gives me the same achievement of pressing both. So that's actually useful. I'd rather just not rely on the pressure thing and just hold both. The thing that differs from this fight pad to others is how many buttons you see here. Where a lot of times when I see console fight pads, they have 3 buttons instead of 2 going in the diagonal. Like how B and A here, there would be another one, which would be R, basically. Like in a PlayStation fight pad, I've seen square, triangle, R1, X, circle, R2. The reason why is because 6-button fighters are prominent on the PlayStation, and so you want 3 buttons on the face, and you could also play it like this style, which definitely not how I'm holding it, but it's kind of like the claw style. You'll see people put the controller in their lap and then use 3 fingers and dance, almost equivalent to the fight stick. Why am I mentioning all of this though? Because preference matters a lot when you're trying to get good at a game. What is the way you prefer to play the game the most? As far as controllers go. If you're not comfortable with what you're using, it doesn't matter. So, for instance, with the whole thing like where I'm saying NRS games, the controller is not optimized. Like my fight stick isn't optimized for NRS games. I prefer using the fight stick, but I really feel I do better on the pad because it's just not the fight stick's not optimized. But let's look at Street Fighter or even Guilty Gear. Does the fight stick offer any improvement over this? Only if you are more comfortable with it does it offer it. Just because this doesn't give me a lot of the freedoms that the fight stick does not mean it's worse. It's only worse if you are unable to be as comfortable with it, which I am. So this is worse for me to use. You might be able to use this better than a fight stick, and there's nothing wrong with that. Though I do say fight sticks offer a lot of benefits. They're expensive. You shouldn't buy one to try it out. Find a way to test one out before you want to make the investment. But if you like it and you can see yourself getting really used to it, oh, it's so worth it. Now, the final thing, commitment. I can kind of get this through real quick. How much time are you willing to put into a game to get good? I was able to beat Dark Souls 3, which is the first Dark Souls I ever beat, first Dark Souls I've played in such a serious manner. I'd say 2 days. So, didn't really require that much time. Granted, I had played and beat Bloodborne beforehand, and arguably, Dark Souls 3 takes a lot of its gameplay from Bloodborne. It took me, God, I had to put like 8 hours a day for a week, and I still wasn't halfway through that game. And that's like learning the game, how the gameplay goes, the mechanics. Dark Souls 2, I still can't beat it because it plays so different from 3 and Bloodborne. And I'm still learning elements of the mechanics. Fighting games are no different. Each fighting game has specific ways it wants you to play. Look at Guilty Gear. You can freeform your own combos and do a lot of crazy stuff. For the most part, they just expect you to realize that the main thing is ending in a hard knockdown, which all knockdowns are hard knockdowns in that game, and then putting some type of okazeme, which means wake up guard. You want your opponent to have to block on wake up. So that's the only thing about Guilty Gear that's kind of set in stone. You can freeform your combos, but you have to understand it wants you to knock down, set up, begin pressure. Street Fighter has very handheld combos. Feels like you do this because the developers want you to do it. Like Street Fighter 5. And I'm not saying this is a bad thing. Just like every game has specific ways they want you to play. You have to have the commitment to figure out, how does it want me to play? No game is going to let you completely play it your way. That's impossible. Even down to survival games like Minecraft and everything. I can't just play Minecraft how I'd want to. Because if that was the case, I wouldn't even worry about picking up blocks and I'd run around and kill everything. Oh, it's a pig. Kill it. Another player. Kill it. They built this. Let me chop off this piece of it. Run away. Sure, I can do some of that, but depending on the server, they're not going to let me. So I can't play games my way. I got to play the games the way they're built to be played. There is nothing wrong with that, and you just have to have the commitment to learn how to play the game. That's what I mean by commitment. So to me, those are the 3 aspects of how to get good at a game. Doesn't matter if it's a fighting game, first-person shooter, an adventure game that's difficult like Dark Souls, which I guess action-adventure RPG, I guess. Horizon Zero Dawn has a difficulty curve that once you get it, it makes a lot of sense. You can defeat anything at a low level. You just have to start understanding why, like certain features about the robots and their patterns. A lot of difficulty in games is pattern recognition. In RNG games, that becomes different, but there's still recognition and stuff. Like boss patterns in Dark Souls are random, but you can learn how to force out certain attacks. Just stuff like that. So I hope this has been insightful. If you have anything to add or want to talk about, feel free to ask in the comments below, or comment or mention in the comments below in case it's not a question. This has been Edge-dono from Hitstun Gaming. I'll see you all later. Please have a wonderful day, guys.